Debby Enoe from Teacher Success Coach with another episode of Female Educators Roundtable, the world across the waters. This time in sunny Caribbean, sunny Jamaica, while England is so very cold. So she's going to introduce herself and tell us, what age group she teach. And we take it from accepting the offer to come online to share your experience post-COVID-19 and what education looked like for you. Introduce yourself and tell us about the whole situation.
Hello, UK. How are you? How are you? I am Keisha Hale, and I am one of your awardees, Jet UK awardee for education. I came there 2 years ago and collected my award from you, so I'm very grateful. I am a principal of Padmore Primary School, and I also sit on many educational boards here in the Caribbean and in Jamaica. My mantra is that education must be first and foremost when it comes to upliftment of our people here in Jamaica and in the Caribbean, in the diaspora. So I have had many awards, including the national awards like the LASCO Principal of the Year Award and the Gleaner of the Educator of the Year Award. And I am here on Teacher Success talking to Debby Enoe, and I'm very elated. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for accepting the invitation to come online. Okay, one of the questions is, 1 year on after the pandemic, what is over a year now anyway, 1 year plus after the pandemic, what are some of the challenge and triumph that you have experienced going back? So are you back in the physical classroom now?
Yes, we are doing a blended approach.
Okay.
Some days we are in the classroom and some days we are online.
Okay.
So 1 year forward, right?
Yes.
Before I dive into talking about 1 year forward education and the impact, I just want to say to the world, to inspire the world, that COVID is here, but what it has taught us is that just like how this virus can spread itself all around the world, we can spread love and we can spread care and we can spread common decency, love for our fellow man. And that is what I want everybody to take away. Now, when it comes to education, 1 year in, what it has taught us is that there are a lot of children that were marginalized, right, when it comes to teaching and learning, because we have not set the templates that we could deal with something like this that would prevent us or prevent the children also and prevent the household and all the stakeholders in education from really functioning like how we normally function. So it tells us that education must be more fluid, in that just not all must happen in the classroom. Education is supposed to be happening all around at home. We're supposed to build that climate, right, for educating, for the children to be learning in our communities, doing these little community projects, they're not supposed to just be learning in the classroom. We have put learning and boxed it. We have boxed learning in the classroom, and that's not supposed to be happening. Our young people must be learning in their environment, wherever they are. They must be learning. And we need to be creative now and create that atmosphere at the home, in the community, for young people to be continuously learning. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very, very true. That's why you see, that's when we actually look in terms of learning, we need to be looking at learning takes place everywhere. And you're so rightly when you say it should not only be a box in the classroom, because we have been conditioned to think that it meant to be in the classroom, but COVID have taught us differently, that education is everywhere, and we should constantly be updating and, seeing education as something all over the place. And that's how children are going to be enjoying education, other than just seeing it as they only use it when it's in the classroom. And it is very, very true. So what would you say in terms of their behavior and discipline? How do you think that things have changed in relationship to classroom discipline now that you've gone back in the classroom and you're using a blended approach? What are the situation now that the children they're coming out from COVID, because they're coming through COVID now? So what is discipline like?
Thanks for that question. What came up like a big ball in front of my eyes is that we have to, in the budgets, what we're doing for education, we have to put more into to ensure that our parents are involved and they themselves are doing parent classes. How to be a parent class. Because right now, if as I speak, some kids are not in the classroom, they are home. And we have to understand that our educators are not our first teachers. Parents are our first teachers. So with this wave of COVID and some kids are at home, what we realize is that most of the parents are not even able to basic learning, help them with their homework. They are not able to look at the curriculum and know what the child must do, how they must do. Then education was put on the back burner, so to speak, not everywhere, not in every household, but most households, especially of the marginalized children. Okay, so what we find out now is that we need to have more parental empowerment to let the parents understand that they also are their children's first teacher. Okay, so the teachers worldwide need help. Now that teacher sit down in front of 30, 35 or so, 30, 35 students. The parent have one. And the parent join out there, Miss, I cannot do this. Miss, I don't know what to do. It's driving me up the walls. It's driving me crazy. And the teacher have 35 to deal with.
Exactly.
So we see that the parental empowerment now must be put on the front burner of every country. How do we get back our parents doing courses? How do we get them back in school that the children can, how do we give them online courses? Some certificates, the ones who have dropped out of school early because of teenage pregnancy and so forth. How do we get them back doing some courses, uplift themselves, that they believe that they can? So these are some things that we can look on, okay, to see how we empower our parents. So that is one of the big things in the classroom, that in the teaching learning that we are looking at. Now we have several factors of the children coming back to school. They were in the home environment. Most of the parents had to go to work. Some of them were on their own. So now to get them back disciplined now and to get them back socializing, knowing now that they are in a classroom and they have to social distance from their best friends, and they can play as they normal. It's not a normal thing like previously. So it's like we have to recondition them, we have to recondition them to know how the new norm of the classroom is. And it has been 2 weeks opening back in Jamaica. We are still finding ways how to get them reconditioned to this kind of climate in the classroom. But we are optimistic that it can happen, but we know that we're going to need the home now because most of the children now, with the stories that they say is what is at home. So without the teacher being at home, they know what is going on at home, because the children don't understand that that's their private business. So if you ask them, how did you spend September, they're going to tell you all kind of home business, what is going on, So education, I have classified it in Jamaica. I've said on my Facebook page, I said education is now everybody's business.
I agree with you.
And the teachers' business. It's everybody's business because these children are the workers of tomorrow. If we are going to look at goals for 2050, these kids are the kids that are going to take over leadership of tomorrow. Those companies, these are going to be our workers. So we now have to find a way now. I think with our budget cut for education in Jamaica, slashed by about $1 billion, right? We are now going to have to now, the teachers have to be professional beggars and the principals, because now we have to ask the corporate Jamaica, the parents, the families to give more to the schools in order for us to fulfill certain mandate. And now is where we need the resources more than ever, right? The resources to ensure that the children are learning. Because what I've done in my school and what I have talked to my staff about is that the students now must be learning inside and outside the classroom. So whatever activities they do outside, it must be a learning activity. Okay, so we are, and what I do a lot of home visits. Because as you know, I led the COVID feeding program. Yes, I led the COVID feeding program in Jamaica. So I had to visit my children's homes. So I had to really go to the homes, and even although I'm feeding them, and I have to feed some of the parents too, even although I was doing this, I had to really see where and tell them where they can put a little desk and a chair for the kids and fix up the kids' space, that it is a little learning classroom inside their room and so forth. So you have to empower the parents. Yes, you have to empower the parents. But education now has taken a new turn, and educators like myself, we have to step up to the plate.
Yeah, I so agree with you. And it's interesting because when we actually talk about education, as educators, we don't just educate. We wear several different hats. And listening to you, whereby you say, you have to feed the parents, and then you go to the home and try to create a little space that the children would actually, see it as a space for learning. That's so many things we as educators do. We don't just have one hat to educate. We do so many things. And it is, sometimes we feel it is expected of us. Sometimes it happens automatically because you see there's a need to do something and you automatically get into gear and do it because you think, well, if you're not doing it, someone else, no one is going to do it, and you have to support the children. So educators wear several hats, and we are constantly wearing several hats. Thank you for that. Another question is, this have been up quite a lot in terms of the UK, when they're talking about the concept of lost learning. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay. Over the years, what we have done is we have written curriculums from grade 1 to high school. So there's a certain curriculum that a child who wants to matriculate must learn at grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, when they go to high school, first form, second form. What COVID has shown us is that learning will take place outside the curriculum at a much faster pace also, right? So we have boxed the children to say, this is what you need to learn when you're 6 years old, when you're 7 years old, when you're 13 years old, right? So COVID, that is why we are talking about learning loss so much, because it's really curriculum loss.
Exactly. Right? I like that terminology. It's curriculum loss, not learning loss, curriculum loss.
Curriculum loss. So the children may be behind in the curriculum. But what I'm saying and what I'm purporting to the world as a world international awardee educator, I'm saying that, look here, what we need to do is to empower the parents to know their role. And when we empower the parents, what we can do is that over time, you wouldn't look at it as a learning loss, because what must be done at school will be ratified at home. Parents know the importance of homework and the importance of giving the projects and the importance of going through the material that the child had learned in the days and reinforcing it. Okay, so what we need to do is think outside the box, okay, and think how we can channel and how we can get our young people hitting the marks. Because even while we were in the classroom, there were certain amount of kids who were not learning the curriculum. Okay, yep. and some of the needs we weren't targeting to the learning needs, how they learn from music and how they learn from art. So what we need to do is the skills, the new skills that the children, when they're at home and parents want to get rid of them, they say, go and draw this, I'll go and color this. And when them look at what the child does, they say, you do that? It shows you that they don't even know that kind of skill set that the child has. It's in the COVID period now, they find out how talented their children are. Okay, so what I'm saying is that what we know now is that the book and pencil and the degrees and what has to do with you being a lawyer, doctor, police, or chief is not that again. It is all about now what kind of skills, that God-given skills, we can unearth from the children. So let's pair that together with our children, and they will be immaculate and they will be all right. Thank you.
I like that. I like that. I like that. Thank you for that. In the past 18 months, what are some of the things that you have learned? Have you or will you implement them back into the physical classroom? Because for as educators, we have learned a lot of skills during COVID. And some of us are able to implement it in the classroom, and some of us, are not able to, because I've noticed that some of my colleagues, although they've learned a lot of skills, they've gone back in the physical classroom and they're refusing to use it. So for you guys in Jamaica, what are some of the new skills that you guys have learned over the 18 months as a result of COVID? And have you, or are you going to implement them in the physical classroom?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Okay, so we had to use many methods because what we noticed that some of our kids live quite far from schools in the hills and the valleys. And, and I have said to the government that we can't expect the teachers, we can expect them to do some amount of social work, but we can't expect them to be a social worker and a teacher. So what it shows us is that Jamaica, we need a lot of social workers going around, because some of these parents, because they have lost their job and so forth, they're hiding the children. So some of the children are not yet in physical school, and some of them are not online. But what I want to say about all of this is that we have learned the skill of you people.
Your mic is off.
My mic is off? Do you hear me now?
Yes, it's fine now. I didn't hear what you said earlier on.
Okay, I'm saying that one thing don't fit all. We have to look at the kids as little case studies.
Yes.
In that. All right. So Mary lived with her grandmother, and the mother is abroad. She's gonna need more support there. Paul don't have a father, so he maybe need some more mentorship there, so we can call in somebody for these students to talk to them as a father figure. So the individual approach where we had to find out what happened to these kids, why they weren't online, are they eating properly, that little things that we had to find out in COVID time. We can now use it in the classroom, right, to ensure that no child is left behind, but at the same time, we're going to need more resources. So like how the budget is cut for education, I don't agree with that in Jamaica, because right now is when the teachers are going to need these kind of resources to ensure that education, quality education continues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As an educator in what way do you think the pandemic have affected you physically, intellectually, emotionally, socially, and spiritually? How has it affected you in all those areas? Or haven't it affected you in that way?
Well, as a human being, it has affected everybody. What is there's new normals. You understand me? So what you think was a normal, you're 20 years you're in the classroom, you're being in leadership of a school, and most of what you have learned then, you have to draw on it now to recondition it to fit in a new normal. Okay, so if you are out of the box thinker like I am, you would find out that it affects you. Yes, but it widen your scope for new opportunities.
Yeah.
How to deal with children and parents. Now, I'm a psychologist, so these kind of skills I have to draw on. How to talk to my parents. I have calls from parents who tell me that, Miss, I'm this close to commit suicide. You understand? Miss, I don't have anything for the child to eat. I've lost my job. Right? So it's about how you have a conversation, or you talk to them, or you can draw and find some more help for them. So it has conditioned. I think it made me have even a closer relationship also with my parents. You understand me? Because as you know that as an educator, most of the parents would mostly deal with the teachers mostly when they have a problem. But because I've been on the road doing this COVID feeding program, I get to more one-on-one with them, and one-on-one with their needs. And then the children, you get to see what atmosphere they are learning in and what kind of environment they are learning in. So you recalibrate and say, okay, then how can I now help this child and help this parent to face the conditionalities that they are facing. So you start dig deeper as an educator. And my other degrees now help me. I call on my other degrees now to really help me be a better educator. So these are some of the things that, yes, we are affected by it. I am affected by it, but I have learned so much other skills and can utilize so much other skills to get around this, because education must continue. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. How would you say that the whole COVID situation have affected your ability in the way you teach now? So now, how would you say that COVID have affected you in the way you use your teaching skills, in relationship to, let's say, 18 months ago? So how has it affected you in terms of how you now teach?
Okay, so I'm a graduate of the Michael University College, and I'm a constructivist by nature. So because I did my master's degree in education, Michael had taught us some skills before that we can identify different learning styles and so forth of the children. So what I've done, I've imparted this to my staff. You understand how to identify how children learn, because sometimes when you teach on the board and so forth, you find out that some might get it and some won't get it. But I said to them that this little boy, how does he know Vice Cartel song? How can he verbate it word for word and can't learn what you're teaching? It means that maybe he's musically inclined. So you have to find a way how to teach his child. So you have to first learn the learning style, and also rote learning. I cut it out of my school. No rote learning. I said to my teacher that no rote learning. I said to my teacher, we have some strategies. I said to them, when I come online and I look in your class. I don't want to hear you just saying, giving information, giving information. What I want to hear the children, right? Suppose you're going to be doing weather, and the next topic you're moving on to weather. What I want you to do, I want you to tell them the topic. I want you to give them some guidelines where they can go and research. Their parents can go and research weather, right? And then when you come to the classroom, what you do, you have them reporting to you along some guidelines. What is weather? What are the weather instruments? So forth, so forth. You understand? I want to hear the children talking. Now, after they have reported to you at the end of the class, now you're going to have a 15 minutes. So anything they haven't said, you have that mop-up activity for them. You have that activity where they can go and get the book where they can go and read further. You have the activity where you're going to give a project. You will maybe give a project and put them in. And if I say you're going to draw that weather instrument and report on it, you're going to draw that. You know, you have to mop up activity. So you have to change the way how you teach. Yes, you have to change the way how you teach. Make the online, when you're online, you have to know that you have to keep the children focused on what you are teaching. So what it does is that you have new learning things now, what you have to do. That you have some teachers, you go in them class, you want to be a student again. You want to be a student again because they have the activities and all of that. The child don't want to come offline. They don't want to come offline because you are so interactive. You cannot be boring. So what we do is that we have to carry that in the classroom. And say, when I come to your class, I don't want to be boring. I go and I stand in my classroom. And I must be wanting to learn as a child. You understand? So that's what I'm trying to tell my teachers, that I want your classes to be very engaging and very and capturing what the kids need to learn, and that is how you're going to get the curriculum into them. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very, very true. I love that because it's like yesterday I was saying to some educators, we need to be interactive because that's how the brain functions. The brain functions by you doing things and you using all your senses. Just sitting, just standing there and putting PowerPoint slide on or just chatting to them, chalk and talk doesn't work. We need interactive. We need them to be part of the learning. And it's fantastic that you say that in terms of no more rote learning. I so agree with you because it is so boring. And I also say to educators, you need to put yourself in the child position. Let's say if you were the teacher, right? You were your teacher. Would you be bored or would you be excited? And we need to constantly remind them. And I even said to them, when you actually go on continual professional development workshops, does these people bore you? Just think, if they're boring you, that's how you probably is boring your children in school. So those are things, it's fantastic that you actually really home in that in terms of no rote learning. I so agree with you there because that sends children to sleep. It really does. It really does. Okay, thank you very much for that. Moving forward, what 3 tips would you give educators, that we've actually gained during the pandemic in terms of moving forward? Because, we now have to start moving out of the pandemic and transitioning into this new normal. So what 3 tips would you give anybody who is now finding it challenging coming through the pandemic?
Thank you for that question. One of the number 1 tips I want to give educators all over the world is that you have to learn to divorce your personal life from your professional life. Right? That is one of the biggest tips I can give. Sometimes all hell is breaking you because you are going through the pandemic as well. Sometimes you don't understand that you are going through it. Okay, but there's something called modus operandi. Your children know it. Your parents know it. You are the manager of your class. You're the leader of your class. You are the one that is responsible for these 30, these 25, these 20 kids learning, these 20 kids' future. So you have to divorce yourself, whatever going on in your personal life, when you come to teach these students. It must not come over in it. You must come as somebody warring for their future. Right? So you have to ensure that you keep a relationship with the parents and that you motivate the children to learn the materials that you need them to learn. You understand? You have to keep a smiling face.
Exactly.
Yes. I'm very perturbed when I go on an online class and I don't see your cameras on. The children are looking at a black space. Oh no. Once I do that, I know what kind of teacher you are. The pleasantness of your face is what motivates a child. Sometimes they don't even eat for morning. Sometimes they are going through some things at home, but you come on and you say, good morning, class. It's a beautiful day for learning. It's a beautiful day, and I know you can do it. I believe in you that you can do it. It makes a world of difference.
Yep.
This is one of my major tips. Secondary, the second tip I want to give you, you must do some self-introspection, right? Because you see how I come across confident. If you check me 20 years ago, it would be this person. But you have to learn how to go and do on some courses. Anything that you think that you are not, you're not comfortable in yourself with. You know, there's certain, maybe you can't teach maths well, you think, or you can't teach science well. You know what I used to do? I used to go to the bookstore, and if I'm teaching grade 4, every science book, what's a grade 4, I buy it and go and read them out, go and practice. Because when you go in front of your students, they pick up on anything you're working.
Yep.
Don't think that they're young and they're going to pick up. They say, mommy, Miss can teach what we understand, what's no, understand social studies, and what you those teach well normally becomes your child weak subject.
Yeah.
So you have so much power as an educator. So fix yourself. Fix yourself, right? If there's something you think you're not good at, go and do a course. Go and buy some books, go and watch some YouTube video. But you must be confident. An educator is confident in herself that I am going to impart knowledge today. I am going to ensure that that child who them say cannot read, by the end of 3 months, they will be a budding reader. You have to find out the problems and the different situations in your class and try to fix it. So before that, you have to learn to fix yourself and fix your confidence and fix what you have in you. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, that's the second one.
That too, I was about to say, you cheat me, man. You need to give me one more.
One more, and this is one of the major ones. And I want you to smile on this one. I'm so serious on it. In this climate, when you see that what is going on, man cannot control it. The pandemic has spread across the world. Man cannot control it. The vaccine, people get vaccine, they get the second dose, and they're asking for booster. And now you may have to go take the booster off the booster. That means that man has no handle. You have to get closer to your maker. You have to get closer to your maker and know that God must be in control of all of what you do. He leads you and he guides you and he gives you dreams and he sends destiny helpers for you. So you are impacting his world. Being an educator is the most wonderful thing ever. It's the most fulfilling. It's the most fulfilling. I'm so humbled. I'm so humbled to know that I can affect those 200 odd kids' lives that I have academy. I'm so humbled that I am the one who to make decisions to affect their life. So what I'm saying to you is that you need to get closer to your maker, that he can give you all these dreams and this inspiration. He can speak to your spirit, that you can know what to do, when to do, how to do. So it's not about yourself alone. It's all about that spiritual man that you have to build with that relationship. Let God breathe on you. That you breathe on what you do. And then that is how you can affect what you do wholesomely. Thank you.
Yeah, it's so true though. Thank you very much. Something you've said, which is really wonderful, is like, an educator is one of the most wonderful job. It's like I was saying to my student yesterday. I say, you know what, as an educator, I say it is such, I say it's hard. I'm not denying the fact that it is tough, especially post-COVID is even tougher, but it is such a wonderful job. And when you actually love it, you see you see how you get out of your student. Because when you love education, any boring subject could come alive because you so love it that subjects are not boring for you because you find a way of inspiring your student so they too would enjoy it. That's the beauty of education. And because one student said to me yesterday, Miss, do you like teaching? I said, I don't like teaching. I love teaching. I said, because when I'm looking at how much you guys are learning when you come to the class, it's like the attitude of, the down shoulders, it's like, oh, well, I don't like it. I said, the time you guys are halfway through my lesson, I said, look at you guys are smiling. We enjoying the lesson. I said, that's what I love about it. I love when you leave my lesson, I've made an impact on you and you're taking something away from it. That's the beauty of education. As I also said to a group of students this morning, not everybody could teach. You have some educators out there, sorry, they have the knowledge, but they cannot teach it. But that is not their fault because not everybody this job is for. It's like a student said to me last week, they said to a science teacher, she said to me, oh, Miss, I've asked the science teacher what we were just talking, and in terms of, he explained something to them, sorry, and they still didn't understand it. So then they asked him, oh, why did he become a teacher? And he said, teaching was not his first choice. Teaching was his third choice. How could you tell students that teaching was your third choice? Which means that you're saying that teaching was not even on your radar. So as a result of it being your third choice, these students are actually picking it up because the fact that these students were able to tell me, oh,
Children are getting crumbs. The children are getting crumbs.
Exactly. And I think it is so important that if teaching even not your first choice, you should find a way to either coach yourself out of it or coach yourself to embrace it. Because children really pick up, as you said, Keisha, they really pick up teachers that are not loving the subject and teachers who are only there for the money, although there's no great set of money in teaching. You always see, the teachers who are there just to pick up the salary. And you see other teachers who are there, they love the subject. When I'm in my classroom, I'm in my element. I'm all over the place. I'm not one of the teachers who sit at the desk because I cannot sit at the desk because it doesn't work for me. I have to be all over the place because I need my student to come along with me, because I want them to enjoy what I'm enjoying as well. And it is so important that we as educators remind ourselves that, something you say as well, which is very true. Educators have a lot of power. They could make or break a child. And we as educators, we need to start making children instead of breaking children. It's powerful. Is there anything else you want to say to me before we say goodbye to our audience?
Okay, I just want to thank you for having me. But also importantly, if there is an educator, a budding educator, somebody who is either thinking of coming into the profession or you're in there but you're kind of getting tired, I just have a few words for you. The legacy that you leave behind as an educator, money cannot buy it. The legacy that you leave in that child that you taught that child who is going to become an accountant, who is going to become a politician, or anything that they are to become in the future. That legacy, children more than anybody else can feel your love. They know if you love them. They know if you care. There's no band-aid you can put, or you cannot fake it for them. They feel you. They feel your energy. They know if you care. Do not come into this profession if you don't really love people. You don't really care for people. If you don't love your country, or care to really be the best that you can be as an educator. Look at me. I don't like to blow my own whistle. But if I wasn't impacting on a big scale in education, I would have left it long ago. Anything you choose in life, if it's not being an educator, ensure that when you are there and when you're in your elements, you are making a giant, humongous, big impact, and you care not, care zero, who don't like the impact you are making. The point is that we are raising the future. It's a big thing. You are impacting the future. What the future looks like is what you make it. So my job is so big. It is impacting the future prime ministers, the future leaders, the future decision makers have to come through a teacher.
Yep. I could only echo that.
Yes. So do not take this job callously. I take my job very seriously. 12 o'clock at night, my parents can call me, something wrong with one of my kids. My kids never reach home. I go look for them. This job is also not very monetary. Yes, we understand that, right, Debbie? It's not very monetary fulfilling. But I can tell you that emotionally and feeling worth, that's where the fulfillment comes from.
Yep.
And if you're not feeling it, if you have teaching for a month, 3 months, and you're not feeling it, leave it and go and do something else.
Yep.
Don't tarnish anybody's life. Because some of our parents, they are not able to help their children as they should. So a teacher is so, so important to the landscape of the country.
I so agree with you there. Sorry. When you say that, there is, in terms of monetary, education is not it. But what is so fulfilling is when you actually go down the shop or you go to anywhere and you find one of your ex-students and say to you, "Oh my goodness, Miss, you remember me?" I was thinking, who the hell are you thinking? I don't remember you. And they're giving you one long verse about, you make them become a teacher, or, they like what you were teaching. Initially, they didn't like you, but then they realized how much you had the interest and they really love you at teaching. It's like I met a student a few weeks ago, ex-student. She said to me, her password on the computer is my surname with her surname. I thought it was funny. She said, yeah, because she said, "Miss, you don't understand." I said, "Well, call me Debby now. You've made such an impact on me." And it really does make you feel, wow, oh my goodness, did I do that? It's really is good. It's like yesterday, I walked into one of the schools I taught in the summer. And as I was walking through the gate, one student said to me, "Miss, do you remember me?" And I said, "No." He said, "You taught me in the summer." And he said, "Miss, are you here?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, I must go and tell so-and-so that you come back." And he was like, all of that. And I'm walking up the stairs, quickly in my space, in my feet, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, is it? And it really does make you realize that you're making so much more impact than you ever thought. As you rightly say, Keisha, teaching should not be taken lightly, because we actually really impacting the future generation. And what we say to a student, to an individual, could either make them or break them. So it's so very important. So educators out there, it doesn't matter how you're feeling right now. I know it's tiring, but you are good enough. You're doing a fantastic job. You are doing the best you can. And as long as you love your subject and you enjoy teaching it, I understand it's challenging, but that's the nature of life right now. It's going to be okay. You need to love upon yourself in the same way you're going to love upon your students. You need to love yourself. Only through loving yourself can you give love to your students. And I know it's difficult, but remember, you are doing a fantastic job and well done. Right, have you got anything else to say?
Thank you for having me, Debbie. I enjoyed the moments with you. I enjoyed, those are good questions that you posited. And I'm sure that some educators on your thread and on my page will benefit from this interview. Thank you again on behalf of Jamaica.
Thank you very much for accepting the offer to come onto the platform. And as I keep saying that, I interview educators around the world. So anybody who wants to come and share their journey of post-COVID, just pick me up on Facebook and I'll just put you on the show. It's just so wonderful to hear educators' views, because we are in different planets, different parts of the world rather, but we are all going through that same journey. And we all going through the same challenge of, the discipline, where the students are at, the ability to empower them, etc. So we all going through that journey. So it's wonderful for us to, as female educators, to share the journey so that we know we are not alone. We all on this journey together, because we all are experiencing very similar things. It doesn't matter which part of the world we are. Anyway, take care, and I'll be on tomorrow with another show, which is looking at alternative education, which is homeschooling, with another guest from around the world who is going to be sharing us. I'm on another show with the 100 Black Men of London, where we are looking at bullying and what parents could do in relationship to when the children are being bullied. They need to increase the confidence of the children so that the children would not readily accept the bullying, or the children would not be bullied, because we're individuals, right? So that's what I want to leave you guys with. Anyways, take care.